Hey everyone, it's James with geometriccharts.com, February 8th, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the 4-hour chart of Bitcoin, BTC, USD on the Bitfinex exchange. So, big pump today, or actually let me say it's not investment advice, but big pump today, pretty convincing move, but it's kind of reminiscent of this move. The big giant short middle finger, like, hey, you think you're going to short this market and you think you're going to make a ton of money real easy? Well, guess what? We got something else for you. And that's pretty much what I see. The stochastics are still negative like they were back then. They were clearly on a downtrend while our momentum is dying, while price is trying to pump higher. We're very close to the 200-week moving average, okay? So if Bitcoin cannot maintain this trading zone and prove me wrong in that sense, then there is further downside. And what we just saw was a revert, basically blast the shorts out, flip the sentiment, and I'm sure, I can't wait to see all the news articles, all the social media stuff on all the positive things that Bitcoin's going to like $40 trillion tomorrow, sell everything, sell your pets, sell your clothes off your back and just dump it all right now because everyone's going to become a trillionaire. I could only imagine how sentiment is going to flip, especially if we can get one more wave up out of this. People's minds are going to explode with bullish sentiment. And I think what's happening, right? So like the 200-week moving average is curling under, price is coming down, and it's like psych, pop up, boom. That's what I think is happening right now in this market. The time frame it does that on, I don't know. But what I'm seeing is underlying weakness, the bigger picture, seller domination, and I hate being bearish on this market. I want to change. I want to become bullish. But when the same things happen over and over and over and over again, it's like, how many times you're going to keep burning your hand on the stove before you say, hey, I'm not going to place my hand on the stove anymore. I'm not going to fall for it, time and time again. It's like the same repetitive pattern over and over and over again. It's changing a little bit, but if Bitcoin cannot maintain this zone, right? And we can already see, let me kind of zoom in here on the 4-hour chart. We can already see the crazy wicks forming. Very reminiscent of what happened during that initial pump, to where it skyrocketed, right, and made this monster move across the board. I mean, look at what Litecoin did today. Litecoin's at 26.9% right now. That's the low end, like not the low end of the move, but it was much higher than that. I mean, that thing was like over 30-something%. If Bitcoin's unable to hold the zone and start basing out and finding buyers that are actually going to stay, because volume skyrocketed like 7.8 or 7.4 billion in 24-hour transactions from about an average of about 5.4, 5.5. That's kind of the average on what I see on a 24-hour basis for the volume. So we've had a very good influx in volume. It's the weekend now. Typically that influx starts to dissipate. If that starts to dissipate and the volume's not staying there, then guess what it's telling you? Less and less people are showing up to buy at this level. If less and less people are showing up to buy at this level, guess where price has to go? Back down. And that this is all this was just a nice pump, knock all the shorts out, suck in a new group of buyers, basically guppies, and then absolutely hammer them and use them as fuel to blast through the 200-week moving average and move to the lower tier of this basically of this chart, which is in the mid to like 2000s or so. That's what I see right now. Now, if Bitcoin starts to base out here and it can hold this area, and we can see another leg up forming, and that volume can stay, and those indicators can start showing some strength. This is not going to be an overnight process. This is probably going to be a multi-week, probably month-long process. This is a 4-hour chart, so it takes quite a few candles to really start changing the tide of this move. I'm not trying to look at it from a short-term picture. I'm trying to look at it more from like a medium-term picture, if that makes sense. Within those parameters, maybe like a week, a couple weeks. I think that's about the cycle length of these moves up, anyways. For Bitcoin, if they are multi-legged moves, it's about a couple weeks on average, sometimes a little bit longer. So if we can start to base here, we can start to pump, and we can start to keep that volume, and we can start to see that strength on the indicators, then more than likely we're having a little bit of a tide change. It doesn't mean that Bitcoin's not going to come back down to revisit these levels, but we could start to see kind of a base forming very similar to what happened in 6,000. Now the question is, will we finally start seeing sustained higher highs and higher lows? I don't think so. So, of course, I think I'm probably the #1 bear on Bitcoin, but a lot of what I've said has unfortunately come true in regards to the bearish aspects. So, of course, there's these little spikes here and there, and sometimes you catch them, sometimes you don't, because price gets real choppy, it looks real weak, and then all of a sudden, in 8 to 12 hours, you're already like 10%, 12% higher in these moves, because it's just pump, 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 dump, 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 dump. And I've not seen anything change from that underlying theme. And what I see on the chart, when you look on the bigger picture, is clearly it's an asset that is under seller domination, So when we look at the bigger picture, we can see that. And it's like, as much as I want to believe that this market is turning around, as much as I want to believe that Bitcoin can get back to 20,000, I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. I definitely think what's happening is that we are getting a minified version of this, and the same way price bounced up here, they utilized blasting the shorts out, flipping sentiment, getting a lot of people suckered into this, basing. Oh, it's going back up. Okay, it's going back up. I feel better. Boom, off a cliff. Now they start panicking. They vomit. They start selling. And if they don't sell and they're holding on to the knuckle and they're like, oh, okay, it's going back up. It's just pressure. Boom, next vomit. Now everyone's selling. And that's what creates these crazy dives. And the same thing happens. Those shorts that you all blasted out, not only are the longs being liquidated, but now the bears who all got whacked are coming back for the revenge, and they're chasing, snap, chasing, snap. And that's kind of what I think is happening here, because as price is doing this, we have that 200-week moving average coming through here, and that's it. And there's a lot of eyes on this 200-week moving average. In most asset classes, especially for bigger funds when you're managing lots of money, the 200-week moving average is a pretty good point as a return to the mean. How price reacts around there will ultimately determine a lot of it into the future. So if the 200-week moving average breaks, it's definitely going to be a very bearish sign on a longer term picture. And it looks like what's happening now is we're getting this kind of like, I think, a precursor to a waterfall event, because we're getting these little pumps, and if it does not change the tide, meaning Bitcoin's not holding up and there's not fresh buyers coming in and price is not starting its way up to making higher highs and higher lows, then what we're seeing is a pump event to create that dump and to create that momentum. It's about creating momentum. It's about taking this energy, and this is the ebb and flow of energy. So in order to move something, you need a lot of energy. And that's what they're doing. They're just moving it up, and they're going to take all that energy and just slam it down. And that will give it enough to smash through these technical barriers that a lot of people are looking at. And the 200-week moving average is something that a lot of people look at. So moving averages are very common technical analysis tools. I don't show a lot of technical analysis tools on here, because a lot of what I do is drawing lines, finding energy, and that's basically what you can see. Just these simple lines are, you have the orange line, that's That's just a regular basic downtrend line, but this red dotted line right here is a little more complex that you're not going to see a lot of people drawing. But what you can see is prices corkscrewing around there. So if Bitcoin's not holding up, then guess where it's coming back down to? It's coming back down to its skewer. And if the skewer is not going to hold it and it starts to give out, then guess what's going to happen? It's going to collapse. And if it collapses through this area, through the 3200 area, the next major zone for it to find any buying support at is the low 2000 range. So to sum it all up, if Bitcoin cannot hold this range and hold it with conviction, I mean indicators pumping up, whatever indicator you want to use, MACD, stochastics, RSI, whatever, I don't even care, money flow, it doesn't matter. If things are not showing bullish signs and the volume is not sticking, I think this is probably one of the few asset classes you can actually use volume on and to really gauge how the market's going to go. And it's worked out well, like at least in a bigger time frame of where price is headed to. But the point is that if that's not showing up and that strength in those indicators not there and the volume is not sticking, then chances are this is the pump before a much bigger dump, and this is just the miniature version of the 6,000 area. And that's what I believe we're in at the end of the day. I don't think we've hit a bottom for Bitcoin and Bitcoin's going to rocket to the moon. If I'm proven wrong, I would honestly love to be proven wrong here. I would love to be proven wrong. I know a lot of people that have a lot of money in this, and they were counting on something much higher, and unfortunately it unfolded the way it did. So don't get me wrong, I don't want to see this thing go down any further, but it's going to have to break and stay above 4,400 in order to do that. Not only is it going to have to do that, it's going to have to smash through 4,800 to show the downtrend lines have been broken and maintain a natural course of a positive line upward. And right now, that's really not there. The only thing I see is a lot of negative energy showing that sellers are obviously in control, because that's all it is. The ebb and flow between buyers and sellers, that's the energy formation, or that's basically the energy. And what we see in these charts is just depicting that energy between buyers and sellers. And if it's dying, then there's only one path for it to go, and that's down. There's just not a lot of strength in these moves. So hopefully all that makes sense. I'll produce another video on Monday. As of now, it's just let's see if Bitcoin holds up. If Bitcoin does, great. Maybe there's some more movement to the upside. And if it does start trekking higher, let's hope it stays that way. And as long as momentum and volume's following through, then great. There's much further for Bitcoin to go and the crypto and the rest of the cryptos to move in the future. If not, it's not holding this area, and all of a sudden we're just duck diving. And at the end of this week, or the weekend, I should say, and coming like into next week, we're just diving right back down to the 3,400s on Bitfinex, 3,500s on Bitfinex, then chances are that's it. That's it. Just get ready to get your scuba dive gear on, because we're going to deep dive, and it's probably going to be a very painful event in the near future if it pans out the way that I'm thinking it's going to pan out. But I honestly hope it does not. I'd rather be proven wrong and rather 1,000 comments saying you're an idiot, you don't know what you're talking about, Bitcoin's mooning for real, and those dusty Lamborghinis are all going to be purchased by us very soon. I would rather that happen than everything come to fruition like I think it's going to. But anyways, that is it. I'll talk to everybody on Monday. Have a great weekend. Have a great night, great day, depending on where you are in the world. And that's it.